In this little mini video, we're going to talk about many-to-one relationships in Microsoft Access 2010. And I'm going to model a situation here, starting with a blank database. And I'm going to create a couple of tables, new tables. One table here, brand new down here. I'm going to rename this and call it, oops, it's open. I got to shut it down first. I'm going to just start creating it here. First of all, I'm going to go to this table and I'm going to go to Design View, and I'm going to call this first one Customers table. Customers. And get an ID for free. I'm going to call this Customer ID. And I'm going to type in a last name and a first name, which defaults to text. The date they were first acquired, meaning the date they first bought something from us. And that date will go right here, and whether they're a preferred customer, meaning maybe they get discounts or they're high volume, so we got to treat them particularly nicely, and that's going to be a yes/no field. And you can see you've got all these other different ways of defining what data type a field is. These are common ones we're using right now. So as a preferred customer, that's a yes/no field. Okay, so we've successfully created a customers table with a primary key of customer ID. This primary key is an auto number field. It'll always be that way in Access when you have a primary key for a table that is not a junction table. You'll notice that it's called an auto number data type, but it's really a long integer that has special functionality that allows it to automatically number each row in the database without any user intervention. So that table is now created. We're going to save it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another table. And this is going to be an orders table. I'm going to right click on table 1 and go into Design View, and I'm going to call this the orders table. And as usual, we get an ID for free. We're going to change that to order ID so we can distinguish it from other IDs in the database. It'll be an auto number by default, whose real data type is long integer. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some data here about the order ID. I'm going to add the order date, and that will be a date time type. And then I'm also going to type in the customer ID, which is a foreign key. It will point to the customer who actually placed the order. And this is very important if you're going to join up the customer table and the order table in a many-to-one relationship. You better make sure you get your data types right for the customer IDs. In this table, orders, this must be a number type, and it must be set to long integer. Do not set it to an auto number type. This table, customers, gets its customer ID from the customer table, so it can't auto number. It has to use a number that was already created through the auto numbering process in the customer table. So it's really important that because we're going to join up the order and the customer tables together, that order ID be an auto number, that customer ID be an auto number in the customers table, but just a plain ordinary number set to the long integer field size down here in the table that will have a foreign key that points to it. Very important, or else you'll get errors later on. So I'm going to shut this down, and it's going to ask me if I want to save the design. Yes, I do. So now I have my two tables there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the relationship, and I'm going to go to Database Tools, and then I'm going to create on this Relationships button right here, and then I'm going to, from the Show Table dialog box, I'm going to add customers and I'm going to add orders and close it. To join customers and orders in a one-to-many relationship, I'm going to pick up the customer ID primary key from the customers table, and I'm going to let it sit on top of the customer ID foreign key in the orders table. Up comes this Edit Relationships window, and I click on Enforce Referential Integrity. What this means is that because I've clicked on this box, that if there is a customer that is pointed to in the customers table from the orders table, the user will not be allowed to delete any customers in this customers table unless there are no orders pointing to that particular customer. And that's what this Enforce Referential Integrity does. It prevents there from being customer IDs in the orders table that are orphaned, that have no corresponding customer ID in the customers table. So you should always check on that. And then you click on Create, and there you'll see you have Each customer can be associated with many orders. That's an infinity sign right there, which means many. Each order is associated with only one customer. And that's how you create, in this case, a one-to-many relationship using Microsoft Access 2010.